Hi there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about the Tiger King, the new Netflix special that's become a sensation. Insane romp through owning private zoos in America and all the crazy people that, you know, own them and profit from them and all their different little murderous pasts. Now this one come up, you've probably seen ads for it everywhere now. It's one of those shows that just popped on Netflix and people started watching. You've got to see this is nuts. And it's just built and built and built and everyone's making videos about it. You know, so yeah, this is part of the cycle of how nuts this, you know, this show is. But it's irresistible because once you start watching it, you can't get enough of it. I mean, I watched it pretty much 3 episodes one day, then the final 4 early next day. So it was just like, saw the first 3 episodes, went to bed, get back up, watch the rest. Just like, yeah, because at a certain point you have to know where it's going, what happened, because first 2 episodes are the setup for all the craziness. There's a lot of craziness in them, but when you get to episode 3, that's where the obsession starts to really kick in, because that's where it starts to feel really out of control. The first 3 episodes set up the idea of these various zoos, who the players are, what they're about, all the eccentricities, all the reasons they hate each other or like each other or whatever. Episode 2 builds upon that an idea of these leaders of these zoos and how they manipulate their employees and how they are accused of being abusive to their employees subtly, and how cultish leader quality of them all. And then the 3rd episode is all about did one of the zookeepers or the zoo owners kill their husband years ago. And then it gets crazier and it ends up having like presidential campaigns, murder plots. It's just insane. It's completely insane and completely addictive. It's like watching a soap opera, but it happened, and these people are completely unaware of how they've been seen, and they've all got, and because they're all in their own little bubbles, they can't see outside the bubble because they're so self-important. It's like what they see the world is how the world operates, rather than you're this eccentric person in the world. Nobody cares beyond your little group. Nobody cares. But to them, it's what they're doing is so important, and they place way too much importance on their followers and on the people who believe in them, and but they also seem to hate them sometimes, and or try and ignore them, and it's really weird. It's like some part of the brain needs them, but another part of the brain just despises them because they know there's a lot of fakery involved. There's like almost like some honest part of the brain knows that this is all garbage, but the ego takes over and they go completely crazy. So it's just wonderfully weird. So I mean, there's quite a few characters. There's Joe Exotic, who's the owner of this GW Zoo, which is this zoo in the middle of nowhere where there get tons of tigers, and his is like the kind of lower class zoo. I mean, it's got a lot of working class people who are out of jail, working minimum wage, and they're look after the animals. They're the people who need to start somewhere else, so they come to the zoo and work in the zoo for low wages. But they've got a place to stay, even if it's a terrible place to stay, even though there's no air conditioning or anything. But it's a new start if they want a new start. So it's kind of good and bad. It's like Joe's taking advantage of people who are coming out of jail and need a place to stay. But it's also a start if they want to start and move on afterwards. I mean, it's something that they can grab onto and then move forward with their lives if they want to. So it's kind of a mix of good and bad. Then you've got Doc Handler, who has a harem of mainly women looking after his animals, and according to people who worked in and have left, it's a very subtly abusive relationship which involves having boob jobs and working 18-hour days and getting paid very little money, and some of them have sex with him, and it's because they're all in love with the animals and in love with his idea of what the animal should be, what animal life should be, and it's based on a cult. According to the documentary, it's a cult. Then you have Carol Baskin. She says she's a preservation cat rescue service, but she also runs shows just like the Doc Antler Zoo and the GW Zoo. She runs shows of people visiting the zoo, but she is instead of paying people, she's volunteers. She doesn't pay anybody, but she's the person with the money. She's a millionaire because of her husband dying years ago in dubious circumstances, but she doesn't pay any staff. She's it's a pet rescue. Like, no photos with the animals, no merchandising. It's all about the most basic facilities just to keep the animals safe. It's not about you know, like selling them anywhere. And then there's other animals, there's other zoo owners are introduced as we go, and it becomes this a weird film because Joe Exotic hates Carol Baskin with passion. He's always bringing up she probably killed her husband, in his opinion. Doc Hantler keeps out of that wisely. She's shutting Joe down because Joe has all these, makes most of the money going taking cats around like the malls and stuff, and letting people take photographs with them, or the little tigers and things. So she thinks it's abusive to the animals because the animals end up getting grown out of it, and what happens to them then? Because you need to keep the animals in a production line where there's always animals being born so they can be cute for these like certain amount of weeks where they can be used for this, and then what happens then after that, then they're just a liability. So she's arguing against that, which makes sense. That's like a good point to make. But she's so smug about it that it's like taking a good point from someone who you can't stand. You know, it's like you'd almost say no to them to spite them, to annoy them. Because the whole bit of smugness with the cat rescue service is irritating. And the Joe Exotic seems a lot more fun, even though he is actually more morally dubious. In the documentary, at least. Everything I say is about what you see in the documentary. You know, it's not my view; it's what I saw in the documentary. So you've got that. You've got all these kind of emerging problems. She keeps on shutting him down wherever he goes to these different places like malls and stuff by saying he's cruel to animals, so he loses his ability to go to these places. He retaliates in the dumbest way possible because he's not the smartest person in this documentary. He's the dumbest person in the documentary by a mile. He's basically this gay redneck who likes guns, likes explosives, who likes animals, and doesn't have much business sense. But he's a show-off, he's a showman, but there's always a sense of danger around him. Like a lot of the people he employs are meth heads. He's at two different husbands, both of them who are meth heads, and you feel like he's like grooming them and manipulating them. And there's just a lot to it about ooh, but he's such a show off that you can't want him despite yourself. And he seems to know how to annoy Carol Baskin a lot, but he goes too far because he ends up building a company which is very similar information to its copyright stuff is very similar to the cat rescue stuff, and he's making it look as if he's fronting their company, but she sues him for and wins obviously because it's a dumb idea, but it's puts him in a lot of problems. It's move his assets all around through his parents and through his husbands and stuff, and you start to see how all his little deals are compromising his parents, because now she goes after him, she has to go after them too, and she's pretty vindictive according to him about getting the money even though he doesn't have much money. So it becomes a thing where yeah, he was in the wrong, but why is she going after the money now when she's got a lot of money and he doesn't have any, and she's trying to put people at their homes? So that becomes this thing, at least according to the documentary, that's what she's doing. You have to keep on saying that, at least according to the documentary. So this becomes this vendetta between these two that are just kind of fight each other. And of course, because Joe is such a dumbass most of the time, he ends up losing most of his money. He ends up getting bailed out by this guy called Jeff No, who, according to everyone in the documentary, is a sleazy bugger who will con you into giving away all your assets to him. You know, and he's the one guy who comes out of this with all the money and all the, with a zoo which he didn't seem to even pay for. So he's in the documentary at least, he comes across as a complete con man. And yeah, but I mean, it's like, you kind of feel you don't know everything about him. Like, there's stuff they couldn't say about him for legal reasons, and there's stuff they don't know about him yet. And it's very complicated. It's like, it's really weird because in some way you watch him and you think, well, he's always the smartest person in this whole documentary. Yeah, he's sleazy. He's obviously sleazy and up to his no good. But he's smart enough to know that these people are really dumb and just to let them self-destruct, and he'll come out and pick up what's left, really. So it's kind of funny because you're going to hate him for being such a user in the documentary, but admire the fact he just sits back and lets everyone self-destruct around him and just profits off it. Because it's kind of funny to watch him just watch Joe Exotic just self-destruct and keep on giving more of his money to this guy. It's really weird. He's kind of the weirder one in that group of people you kind of like, you don't like, but you kind of think, well, he's actually just watching people who are stupid, you know, and then just using them. It's not admirable, but it's like, you know, at least he was smart enough to see what was going on. So he's kind of weird. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. Everything with him is alleged, I would say. With him, everything's alleged because keeps his hands a lot cleaner than everyone else, you know. I know, and he keeps a distance a lot more. So everything I've said here is alleged, right? There are other people come through that deal with the campaign manager when Joe Exotic runs for president and governor. Even though he has no political policies, he just wants to run to be popular. He's this need to be a showman that gets more and more out of control the further he goes on. The more he loses, the more of the zoo he loses to Jeff No, the further out he seems to get and the more of a showman he gets. And it becomes things where is he been using the zoo's money to actually fund his campaigns and stuff like that. At the same time, because of what Carol Baskin's doing to his parents and things, he's starting to lose it with her. And that's when he plots a murder attempt on her. Allegedly, but he's been put in jail for it. So I'm not sure if that's alleged anymore. That's been proven. And that's how the whole thing goes. He just keeps on getting weirder and weirder. And you see more of his boyfriends or his husbands and how they are not even gay. He just can manipulate them for meth. And it's just nuts. It's completely nuts. But weird, just so compelling. It's like a kind of drug in itself, just by you need more, you need more, you need more. And then when it's over, it's like, God, it's all over already. Give me a couple more episodes, please. So it's just wonderfully weird, strange documentary. It will get you addicted. It's really odd. I mean, I've even avoided. I mean, there's a guy who's was apparently inspiration for Tony Montana and Scarface. You know, there's tons of weird characters around these ones I've talked about. It's just someone gets their arm ripped off and goes back to work a week later. You know, there's a bunch of caves from Animal and Joe Exotic's place that are actually seem to have been used for years, but still come across as fairly decent. I mean, it's not everyone who's awful, but it's just a lot of people who owned the cats get more and more awful, more and more prideful following on, and the more they'll get proven to be dodgy, the crazier they got. I mean, there was even a reality show that happened that was completely crazy as well, that never actually happened because all the footage got burnt. There's tons of stories like that keep going and going and going. So it's an amazing documentary. It's insane. I'm sure they kind of some of it feels it was edited for the extravaganza of it all. Like, I'm sure there's some details we didn't get that would probably been helpful to have, but it seemed to be edited for like keep it interesting, keep it going. So, but it's still a lot of fun to watch, really enjoyable. I'd highly recommend it. If you're stuck in the house, this is one to see because you won't believe it, and this will kill a day easily. Okay, well, hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back with cats. Yep, I'm doing cats. Bye for now.